Doing here is I'm going to make on a canvas a something I can hang on my wall for the holidays. I was going to do a jack-o'-lantern, but I think I'm just going to do 3 pumpkins. I've got the sketch inside the house in a small form, but I'll bring it out when it's the full size. I want to do at least an 8 by 10. So I started on just layering colors on these sheets, as you can see. I pulled out every orange and yellow I have, and these sheets already had something on them that I didn't like, and I just went over that. So I'm going to now go over them again, and I'll show you what I'm doing. It's just layering and layering until you get what you want. I have my standby stencils that I use all the time, the little ones, and I will use my own cardboard stamps and whatever else I've got in this bucket under my feet here. This is where I hold all my textures and stuff. I pulled out all my oranges and yellows and reds that I like. Arteza Indian Yellow, Mars Orange Arteza, that's all the Arteza. Nature's Touch Acrylic, just plain orange. My Amsterdam Transparent Yellow, which I love. Yellow Ochre, which you can get in, that's Artist Touch, but you can get any. This is Red Medium, Naphthol Red Medium from Amsterdam. And then I have a really dark red, which is my Crimson from Artist Touch Acrylic. Just a cheap paint. And then I have some another tube of medium red here. So we're just going to get started. And every once in a while, I will go over one of these sheets that I've already started, but mostly I'll start some new sheets so you can see what I'm doing. All right, let's start with a bright orange. Now I'm leaving from the last printing on there. Grunge is lovely, and I don't care. I actually encourage it to come up. It has dried, so some of it might come up, but it might not. You don't know. It's very humid today. Now I'm just going to lay down some of these stencils haphazardly. I'm not really trying for any particular thing. I want all the different areas of my paper to look different, so that when I'm going to individually cut out the ribs of the pumpkin. It's not going to be one big pumpkin with this and one big pumpkin with that. It's going to be individually. Now I'm going to start with this. Now see, as you can see, nothing is pulled up from in there. Now watch when I get a tissue out and press down with a tissue. I encourage you to try this. It makes a big difference. As you can see, I was pushing down with my hands and getting nothing. But the tissue will do wonders. And I can get almost every area of the stencil, even if it's old and full of paint. Now that's a start on this sheet. See, that's just my start. Now, I might pull up a little bit of that onto one of these edges, see if I can pull any more of it. And I can. I'm getting a little bit. And everything you can get will add a little bit of interest here. Yep, that was just a little bit, but now we're going to pull this up. And we did paint in the park this week. Me and my friend do that. We go to the park, find a picnic area, bring out all our paints, and we actually did gel printing, which I don't think we've ever done that outdoors before. And it was very interesting. Got some good stuff. And she showed me a technique that I will put in a video. I have a little segment of her doing it, and then I will show you more in a video later this month. Alright, see, there's what I just picked up from the leftovers. We might even be able to pick up more. It's very hot in this studio today, and I don't have the air on. I stop every once in a while, turn the air on, and in between takes. Alright, let's go with a lighter orange. See if we can get, now I don't have very much of this left. I'm going to order it tonight. I don't know when it'll come in, but oh, I love this Indian yellow. We're going to put some Mars orange from Arteza on there too. So actually, that Mars orange to me is more of a brown, but maybe it's a burnt orange. I don't know. There are other colors I could pull out, like that Azo Gold, which I have not pulled out in a long time. Alright, let's see what I've got here. I have some round ones that I just made that I'm not able to find, but how about this? Let's see what kind of impression this does. It hasn't been used in a while, so it should be nicely dry. Yep, I love that stamp. And it has not been used in a long while. And maybe some bubble wrap. Let's just do this one with bubble wrap. Alright, that's just something interesting. And let's go over that first one. This one here. I'm just going to lightly do the first one. I don't want to bring it all up. And see what that does? I'm filling in those areas. Do the same thing for the second one. Let's bring it up like that. And you also can just find a section to clean your brayer on. We'll put that in the stack. Now we'll do a little bit of red. I don't want to do too much because it's a very dark red. And I don't really want a red pumpkin, but a touch of red wouldn't be bad. And it is transparent in places. If we pull it partially up, this is one of those cloth stamps made of the Pellon that you use to line, to stiffen things with, stiffen collars and cuffs and stuff. Alright, let's go over maybe this part that has not much information. And I'm probably going to go over that with yellow because that is too pinkish. I don't know, what do you think? It looks too pinkish to me for a pumpkin. When I'm done, I will show you all the things that I pick out. We're going to do transparent yellow again. Over that. Orange it up a bit. And I'm not mixing them thoroughly, I'm just hit or miss. I really like this circle thing. And maybe we'll do circles and lines. And maybe some squares. And really don't know what I'm doing today. I'm just doing. This is my free fun play. But you'll see how it all comes together. I mean, I am doing something. Just putting a little of this on here. And the rest of it I'll pull up for that side. Now this should make an interesting mix. But I was just trying to tone down that red a bit on that other side, and it worked. See it? It did tone it down. That came off the very dirty stencil, but see, it toned it down a bit. It's more yellow now. And I just pull all these up. And I figured I would need 4 full sheets. And I have a couple from earlier. 4 full sheets to do this. of orange, different shades of orange and different prints. I mean, each rib of the pumpkin is going to be different, but not like dramatically. Because as you can see, it'll be in the same color combinations, and there just will be different patterns on it. Let's do some more yellow on this. I'm going to do the whole thing in yellow. So I want some light areas on my pumpkins too. And since I'm mixing it with the orange that's on the thing, it's not screamingly yellow. Okay. Now I have this stuff. This is actually homemade paper that I've really never used before. I thought I was going to put it in my journal for Halloween, but I think I'm going to do something on this with it. See what it does. It might have been better to judge what it does if I did it on a plain sheet of paper, but yeah, I can't really see what it's doing on this one. Let's pull the rest of it up on a plain sheet and see if it's even worth doing again. Oh yeah, look at that pattern. I just didn't rub hard enough, or there was too much information on that paper already to be seen. That's an interesting pattern, almost like an animal pattern. Okay, let's pull it up. That doesn't leave much though, does it? Let's put something else on here. Let's pull that bright orange back out again. And some more stenciling. What do I got down here? Oh, I got that plain pattern. I'm going to cut the border off that someday. A lot of these, as you can see, I've cut the borders off them. But I just never get around to that one. And I really should, because it's really nice. I'm going to overlap those. All right. Let's pull this up onto maybe the end of this one. A little bit. Get something exciting down there. Maybe this end. Just a little bit. This way, if you don't pull it all up at once, it has a lot of variety to it. Patterns going different directions, and I like that. And for what we're doing right now, that will work out nice. And I don't mind if, I don't know what color I'm doing the background on my canvas, but it's going to be an autumny color, I'm sure. Maybe azo gold or something. So I don't think the tissue where it's left white is going to be a problem at all. Now look at that. That's one of my favorite stencils. Can you see that? Isn't that pretty? Now what I'm going to do is go over this real quick. Over the stencils, leaving them on. And we'll pull it up onto a clear sheet. See what we get. Well, that's a bit yellow from the pumpkins, but guess it'll be okay. Oh, it's okay with the stencils are bigger. Now we'll pull it up on a clear sheet and then over that other sheet. I'll show you that in a sec. I want to get the rest of it up. All right. Well, I think we've got enough for now. I'll just grab what's left of this here and here. And I should have enough left. I might do a few more later, but all right, I'm going to show you what I got. Where's my paper? Okay, put paper under it so I can bring it up there and show you. This is the last sheet. As you can see, there's some interesting areas there we're going to be able to work with. That's the last one. This is the one just before that. And also some very interesting areas. I hope this is focusing fine. And you see those? Lovely. Alright, let me pull out the other ones. This is the one that I did earlier that's got the nice blue. You gotta be careful not to lay them on top of one another. I got lots of work surface here, but... And this is the one that's got a little bit, I don't know, a little bit pinkish red, but I'll do something with that. If I were to cut like a rib out of here, I'd first paint on the canvas underneath it with maybe azo gold or something. And then put that over it, which would give it even more variety. Now there's this one, which has some great areas. Look at that burlap texture, the circles. As I move them from place to place, I don't want to stack them, so I gotta be careful. Alright, and this is one I did earlier. This is a nice pattern, that right there. This area will make a nice rib, nice dark. But you can see there's lots of places to work with there, depending on what size piece I need. I'm going to need a couple of big ones for the front pumpkin, but there's another one that I did. And as you can see, there's a tree in this one. Very nice textures. But they're all orange, yellows, and well, almost browns. Some of them, like this, is like almost a brown. And this has that skeleton, that scarecrow in it, but I can cut around that. Just leave a hint of maybe his head or something in it. That's a nice piece. So this should be enough. I'll have to look and see. If I need more, I'll make a few more, but I'll cut them up, and next session I'll show you exactly what I'm doing with them. Like I said, I'm probably going to do it on a canvas. I don't think I have any more boards. I have to look and see. But I have a ton of canvases, so I'll be okay with that. So I'll be back when I've got everything cut out. Okay, I'm continuing on with my pumpkin patch collage. I cut out some circles out of the paper I'm probably not going to be using to get an idea of what I wanted for pumpkins. And I think I've got it. I haven't decided exactly. I think maybe something like that, where they're going to sit. But I was going to do it on a plain canvas and then paint the background, but I have a ton of, when I used to do paint pouring, and that's fun. If you ever get to do it, do it. It's so much fun. When I used to do paint pouring, I'd have a lot of these canvases left over that, they were nice, but not nice enough. So what I'm going to do is take this one, which has interesting patterns in the background, and I'm going to glaze over it. And to pull, because, it's a little too hideous to, but once I glaze over it, it'll unify it, and I'll be able to do the pumpkin patch just fine over it. I will come back when I get my paint set up to glaze. Okay, so let me straighten the camera a bit. It looks kind of wonky. All right, I've got azo gold, quinacridone. What is it called? The total. Quinacridone gold, or I think it's liquid azo gold. And I'm just going to go along the bottom with what would be the field. And just going to, with a wet brush, just very lightly tint this, which will bring it all together. Now see what that does? See how that marries that whole thing together? It doesn't look like it's going to hideously clash anymore. And you can go darker. I'm going to go darker in some places. And I know it's kind of the same color as the pumpkins, but I'm going to do shading. And I'm going to do pen and ink on them. So when we're done. And I'm not going to worry about brush strokes. I'm actually going to, as my old art teacher used to say, celebrate the brush strokes. And I think I'm going to go all the way up to here because that kind of looks like almost a natural mountain line. Natural landscape line. So we'll go all the way up there. And see what that does? That kind of marries that whole thing down. Dulls it down. I mean, you can still see vaguely that it's purple, but not really strong. And I want some right there. And I'm just going to go back and forth because I like these lines. They kind of look like maybe somebody's been mowing or... See that? And I could have done green too, but... And I can't lay the pumpkin on it because the paint is wet. But you can see it will show just fine on top of that. Now the sky... the top part of the drawing. I need to take my brushes in and actually clean them. I was painting earlier. I'm going to use this. I know you've seen me use this color if you watch my videos. The Amsterdam. It's called, I think it's called green blue, but actually it's more blue than green to me. So, see if I can get a little bit of, just a tiny bit of that out. Smidge of that out. I don't know what a bidge is, but... Not a good speaking day for me, I guess. I did cleaning all morning. That's probably why I'm tired from the cleaning. Just a little bit in a wet brush. And that is far more striking, but you can still see the stuff underneath. Those interesting patterns that the paint pouring did. And yet it's not as yaha as it was. We'll go darker in places. And it won't cover up that lovely blue. Now I think that's all I need to do with the background. I don't know what you think, but I think it's done. Now I was going to do the edges too, but I'm just going to go back and paint those black when I'm finished. Maybe a little darker right here, where it meets the mountains. There. Now see the difference that made? Now I have a lovely background. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Alright. Now we're going to let that dry and then I'll be back. Okay, so that's still not quite dry, but while that's drying, I'm going to take my pumpkins here. And I'm going to draw out sections, gathering all my pumpkin paper that I've got. These are the ones I decided to use, and then I've got a green blue for the... Alright. So what I'm going to do is draw out the segments on these pumpkins. And then cut it apart. Alright, we'll have to figure out where the top is on this one. It looks more like that, I guess. I'm going to snip that off a little bit so it goes an indent for where I'm going to put the stem. And that tells me where the stem's going to go. I'm going to take my green pencil and I'm going to segment it off like a pumpkin. Probably too many segments on that one, isn't there? Well, that's okay. Now I'm going to use the pieces We're going to piece over this one. See, I don't want it to be too see-through because I don't want that background showing through. But it's going to have to be see-through in places. You know what? I think I've changed my mind totally. I'm going to paste these down. I'm going to do the lines on them. I think I've decided to paste these down. And I'm doing these faintly in green colored pencil because that I wouldn't care if it showed. Kind of wonky, but wonky's okay. See, I like that better with less segments. And this one, I'm going to do the same thing. That looks like the top over there. And once again, wonky segments. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these down to that board, which is dry. And then I'm going to start gluing pieces of the, like patchwork on top. So that's the way I'm going to do it. Here's the board. Let's lay out the background ones, which will be these. And you can still see some of the background through it. I'm not worried about that. And it's going to be just, well, just like that. I'm going to maybe tilt the big one in a little bit. There we go. That's where they're going to go. Now I'm going to glue them down with matte medium. Actually, this is gloss gel. I don't know where my matte went to, but this will do. Doesn't really matter. I usually go over the top with gloss anyways. Now there's my glue brush. Now what I'm going to do is just going to glue a segment on it first, just to hold it where I want it. Get the middle glued. I'm going to press it down, let that dry a little bit while I glue the other one. Then I'm going to pull it up on each side, and right, that's where I wanted that one. You know, sometimes I do it in pieces. Sometimes I like to do a background and then piece over it. Usually, though, when I do a background and piece over it, I will do the background a totally different color. Usually. I don't know if there really is a usually with me. I do things so differently from time to time. And I don't mind a little bit of the wrinkle with this because it gives it character. Never been trying for the totally unwrinkled collage. I think if I did faces more, I might, but even when I do faces, I usually do older faces, so if I was doing models or something, I'm sure I would want the perfection that they're trying to portray. Now with this, you need very little glue with this. This stuff wants to stick down. That's how I feel about it. It wants to accommodate you. And I'm gluing this down. All right, I just wanted to show you how I did that, and I'm going to glue the rest down, and then I'll come back and show you how I'm going to do it in segments. Okay, so I'm using the rough drawing that I've got to help me cut out pieces to lay down on my base pumpkins. And I'm going to cut out a few pieces before I lay any down. I like this light here. I think I want it to go right there. But we'll see. I can barely see through this, so just cut a rough shape. Okay. And I could use my transfer paper, but I'm just doing rough pieces. I'm not probably not going to cover the whole base on this. And I'm going to go over this with colored pencil when I'm done. I don't know what kind I'm going to use, probably the Inktense or something. See, that just lightens up that border. And this is what I'm doing, just going, I think I want that half of the pumpkin to be much lighter. So we'll start from here and go up to there. And it's just a rough cut, like I said. And I will come back, like I said, with the pencil and accentuate the ribs of the pumpkin. See, that one's lighter. It's much better. Much better. Where does that exactly go? I'll mark it out. Because I've got that orange base underneath, I don't have to worry too much about it. Well, that's what I'm doing. I'll do a little bit of this. And I'm just overlaying that. Guess it's going to go over the edge a little bit, but you won't notice it. Once I get that paper stuck down, it won't be as noticeable. That. And I'm accentuating the rib right now with just a little bit of marker. Colored pencil. There. I think that would help. Okay, there's that. And that one will be just a little bit lighter than it was. I'll cut it a little more precise before I stick it down. It has to go around that pumpkin, but we're putting stuff on top of there, so it's not going to matter that much. There we go. Now we need some to go the other way. I think the darkest pumpkin is going to be this one in the front, so let's take some yellow out of this. And this one's got a lot of pattern to it, which will brighten it up too. Alright, I can barely see through it, but I can see through it. Let's put a lot of pattern in it. And I know it's probably hard to see on the camera, but basically what I'm doing is just putting little sections, and then I might go back if something's not quite right and go over it again with another sheet. This stuff is transparent, so Let's see. I'm not trying to be terribly precise, but okay, so you can see what I'm doing. I'm redoing the ribs with different pattern paper, and I'm going to leave that a little bit of a hole in the middle when I'm done. Do a little bit more precise cutting. And can you see how that pumpkin's taking shape? Now I'm going to get something dark for this outer edge. Darker, anyways. And maybe a piece of this. This didn't work where I originally wanted it, but it might work here. Oh yeah, that'll work there. There. Now see, these are the pieces that are going to go over that. And it's pattern over pattern over pattern. So can you see how that gives it? Now let me come down a little bit. I mean, they're not glued down yet, but can you see how that gives it a little bit more dimension? And then when I come in with the colored pencils and do the ribs, I'll do a little bit right there. It'll define it a little bit more even. Can you see me doing that? And I'm using, like I said, I'm using this sketch to kind of get a rough idea of how they need to be cut. But okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the ribs on them all. And I've got this weird color. I don't know if it's going to work for the stems. But I think I'm going to do the stems in this and then just ink them up later. But anyways, that's what I'm doing now. I'm going to go do all the other pumpkins and do all their, can you see that? Do all their work, and then I will be back. Okay, so I'm just going to go through a little bit. I've got this all done with my stems. I haven't put the leaves on yet. I want to do some sketching on it before I put the leaves on. And the curly cues, because that way I'll know exactly where they go. But I'm just going to show you, I'm just using, and these are the ones I just got at the, from a thrift store shop. I had a big baggie of stuff, and I just got these. I was going to bring them in the house, because that's usually where I do the drawing, but I think I'm going to work on it out here, and I'm just using the micron pens. And basically, I am just outlining these stems. I'm going to give them some interest. I'm going to come back with thicker pens, but right now I'm just using this thin line micron. This is, I think, this is the 05. It's not that thin, but, and I'm just giving them like a scribbly interest to them. I was going to do my leaves, but then I decided that I'm going to come back and put those in when I'm done. I did actually find a reference online for the leaf shape. And I'm going to go back over where I did. I'm just going to suggest the ribs. Like I said, I'm doing scribbly lines to give just a little texture and definition to this. I'm not going crazy with it. Just a little bit of interest. And I'm not doing straight lines, I'm doing scribbly lines. So there's no excuse I can't draw a straight line. It's not a good excuse for not doing art. Because you're not supposed to be. There's very few straight lines in nature that you need to be following. If you're doing architecture, I guess maybe. But actually, I like the way that looks with scribbly lines. Now I am going to come over with some, over it again with some thicker pen. I've got a couple of pens here that are brush pens. And I think I was going to do different colors, but I think I'm going to stick to black, and I might do white highlights. But I don't think I'm going to do. Now there's a little piece here where it's not glued down. I can do that when I'm done. And just make these look. When I got done, I wasn't really happy with the color of the blue and the blue on the stem, but I'll really hit it with that dark pen. Darken it up when I'm done so that you can see. And I'm more or less outlining. I'm not really being strict about following the lines. This one I'll probably go all the way up on. But anyways, I just wanted you to see what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. And then I'm going to come back. I probably won't film all that, but I'm going to come back with the white highlighter. There's another little section that didn't glue down that I will work on. But I'm not worried about that until I start gluing down the leaves. But can you see how that brings it out just a little bit more? And I will emphasize between the two. And I do want it coming up into the background, the squiggly lines. Making it darker where they meet. Just to highlight them out a little bit. And I might take, and I have a tomball here. Somewhere here that I will use for, right, this one's so I use the brush pen along the bottom here. But that's what I'm going to do, just highlighting the edges. And I'm going to do a lot more black on the stem because like I said, I'm not really happy with the way that blue and the blue of the background works, or doesn't work in my mind. And I will come back with my white, try to sparingly use my white Posca pen. And get that highlighter going. See, I start with the skinnier of the pens and then come back, use this one to give it a little bit more oomph. That's what I'm doing, and I will come back when the leaves are on and I've highlighted it with my white pen and I've finished with this. And I'll go over this a couple times, keep darkening. You can't take it away when it's pen and ink, so you really want to do it like I do it in sections, because I can put it on, but then I can't take it back off. So it's much better to go a little at a time. But I will be back when as you can see, the stems. And basically, I'll just hit it with a white pen and do little bitty highlights. I'm not going to go crazy, but I'll show you just a little bit. If I've got a white pen that works. But see, just hit it with a little bit of it. Can you see how that just starts to bring out the top here? And I'm not going real white. I mean, not really bleeding it that much. Then I'll go back a little bit more. But see, that's the thing. You do it a little at a time because you can't, once you get it on there, it's on there. Just a little highlights here and there. Little highlights on the pumpkin. So, and you do a little at a time because you can't take it away. Now I'm not going to do any more of the white highlights. I'm going to do the rest of the dark pen, put the leaves on, and then come back and do the pen again, see where I need it. And I will be back when I'm finished with this and show you the results. Okay, finished my canvas. Now remember, it's the background is just a paint board, but you can actually just, you could just take your paints, do a sky in the background, and then collage on top of it. But it's nice to do this on canvas because then you can hang it right on your wall. This is a great way to use old canvases. If you have a painting you don't like, paint over it and collage over that. So you can use your old canvases, your gel prints, finally get those pens out to use them. I really enjoy doing that. It's one of my favorite parts, coming back over it with a pen. Well, this is the end of the video. Thank you. If you like, please put a like on it. If you want to see more, please subscribe. I will have more videos. And I've got a giveaway video coming out next week, so you might be interested. It's got some nice 12 by 12 stencils in the package, so hopefully someone will be interested in it. Just subscribe to my videos and you'll see it'll come up, and it will say giveaway in the title, so you'll know that that's the one. And the only stipulation on that giveaway is going to be just add a comment below the picture, and I'll be choosing randomly from the comments. I got an app that can do that. Got an app that can do everything. Thank you. Like I said, subscribe if you want to see more, especially if you want to see those giveaways. And you have a lovely day.